The gates were open enough to walk through, but not drive, so grabbing my digital camera and the map, whose flip side showed a layout of the resort, I set off on foot. The inner grounds of the place were just as overgrown as the entryway.
Ugh, I need a level, but I also don't want to fight
There was a sort
any
of
these
clash
boys.
between order and chaos, as clearly planted rows of perennial flowers.
Oh my god, are you kidding me?
Obnoxious tall
Dude, just
weeds
get on
and
with the
stinking
story.
blackened mushrooms.
What the heck has happened?
Oh my god, I love the way this is written, but it's completely unnecessary
It's
for
so
what this
inconsistent.
is. I know. All that remained of any outdoor structures were broken, rotting wood and various charred bits of unidentifiable material. What was most likely an information booth or an outdoor bar was now simply a pile of assorted debris chopped up by past vandalism and ravaged by weather.
Alright, fine, that's a fair description.
Yeah, it's fine.
Not overindulgent.
No, I mean, it's fine. The most
Flavor
interesting,
text.
Yeah, the most interesting thing on the grounds was a statue of Baloo, the friendly bear from the Jungle Book, which stood in a sort of courtyard in front of the main building. He was frozen in a jovial wave toward no one, staring into empty space with a silly, toothy grin as bird shit covered whole swaths of his fur and vines ensnared his platform.
I'm not surprised he would put a detail like that in there. Also, I'm assuming it's a he. It could have been a she. They.
I think it's written by a dude named Fred. Well, fine. I'll go back. I approached the main building, the palace, only to find the outside of the building covered in graffiti, where the original paint hadn't peeled and chipped away. Above the front doors, or the gaping maw. He likes to use the term gaping. You know, I find a lot of creeps like to use the word gaping. Someone had once again painted "Abandoned by Disney." I wish I could tell you about all this awesome stuff I saw inside the palace. He wishes he could tell you.
Oh man, there was so much awesome stuff.
I mean, there was like a gold toilet.
He can describe all the flora and fauna in crazy detail, but he can't tell you about what awesome
The
stuff
walls
is
were
inside.
riddled with the vines of nature, encroaching upon the structure that man had built. But since abandoned, nature had reclaimed what was once its own.
I wish I could tell you what all
That's
the cool
mine.
stuff inside.
That's my rendition of this. But I wish I could tell you all the details of the things inside. I can only explain to you how everything
Unfortunately,
looks outside
I have
of
a
that.
5,000 word limit on fanfiction.net.
Yeah. I'm sitting here in my underwear with Cheeto stains on my wife beater, explaining to you in great detail how the plant life looks, but I can't tell you about the awesome stuff.
You think
inside.
that? You think this is definitely like some sort of weeb? That's not a wife beater kind of dude.
Weebs are not outside wife beaters and Cheeto stains.
That's what I'm saying. The person writing this is not wearing wife beaters.
What do you think they're wearing?
An
Cat ears?
an anime T-shirt, and a pair of khaki shorts
They're laying on their bed with their full body pillow,
with prescription glasses.
and they have their little anime like the
body
raised
pillow.
the raised boob
Ugh.
like mouse pad. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
like the
unfortunately,
for
yes.
the support for your wrists. You know, so that you can like lay your wrist on the boobs or the butt.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Yeah.
But that's the type of person that's writing this.
You know, I'm not above hugging a pillow out of sadness.
or-
but you know what? I don't make it look like an anime character.
Or it's a kid in high school.
True. This doesn't sound like some kind of early writing.
Maybe late middle school. 8th grade or something.
I wish I could tell you about all the awesome stuff inside of the palace. Forgotten statues, abandoned cash registers. That's awesome. A full-fledged secret society of homeless bums. But no.
Wait. Sorry, a secret society of what?
Homeless bums. But no. None of that actually happened. That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying. That was a lead-up. What he's saying is, the inside of the building was so stark, so bare, that I actually think people had stolen the molding off the walls. Anything that was too big to steal, counters, desks,
that's a fine
giant
detail.
fake trees, they were all resting amid this empty echo chamber that amplified my every step like a slow rat-a-tat of a machine gun.
Speaking of the slow rat-a-tat of a machine gun.
That's a big pumpkin. I checked the floor plan and headed to all the locations that might seem in any way interesting. The kitchen was, as you would imagine, an industrial food prep area with all the appliances and space, no expenses spared. Every glass surface was broken, every door knocked off its hinges, every metal surface kicked and dented. The entire place smelled like very old piss.
That is,
So there's secret bombs in there. I mean, it has
that's
to
a detail I'm very happy to hear about.
Yep. The huge freezer, not even remotely cool now, had row upon row of empty shelf space. Hooks hung from the ceiling, probably
What a
from
weird
hanging
loading
cuts
zone.
of meat. And as I stood inside for a moment, I noticed they were swinging.
Oh no, someone else is in here, or there's a draft.
Probably a draft.
Probably a draft.
Each hook swung.
Not a
in
draft of this story, because
each-
there was not a draft for this
Each
story.
hook swung in a random direction, but their movements were slow and small. That it was
precise.
almost impossible to see.
And thought through.
Almost as if I
someone had-
imagined it. I figured it had been caused by my footsteps, so I stopped one from swinging by clutching it with my fist.
No. Hang on. This guy thinks that the chains from the ceiling started moving because of
you,
his
the Hulk?
footsteps.
Are you the Hulk? Do you make like everything rumble in a
You're
building?
just gonna breeze right past that detail. No, we need to look at that with a magnifying glass. Sorry? Your footsteps caused the chains to move.
So I stopped one from swinging by clutching it in my fist, then carefully letting go. But within seconds, it started swinging once more.
Oh my god, the whole place is moving. It's an earthquake.
The bathrooms were in much the same state as the rest of the place. Just like the Treasure Island Resort, someone had methodically smashed each porcelain commode. Of course, you use the word commode.
He would.
You hipster. With coconuts and other implements. That's one of those things where you're looking through, you're like, another word for toilet, fancy,
Here.
old style, commode.
Let me go to thesaurus.com.
There was about half an inch of rancid, stinking, stagnant. Really? Really? You need to
Yeah,
use
can
three?
I get a coffee with about a half inch of cream?
Just say shitty water on the floor. So I didn't stay there for very long. What's odd is that the toilets and the sinks and the bidets in the ladies' room. Yes, I went there. Yes, I went there.
Did he write that? Of course
Yes,
he did.
All dripped, leaked, or just ran freely. It seemed to me that they should have shut the water off long, long ago.
A long, long time ago.
Long time ago. There were plenty of rooms in the resort, but naturally, I didn't have time to look through them all. I thought there was actually a television or radio in one room, as I really think I heard a quiet conversation coming out.
Ugh.
Though it was like a whisper, probably my own breathing echoing in the silence, or just another case of the sound of flowing water playing tricks on my mind, this is what it sounded like.
The sound of silence.
Hello, darkness, my old friend.
There you go. This time it's sure to work.
One is the first person, two is the second person. This is what he thinks he heard in the wind. You know, colors, voices in the wind.
Gotcha.
One, I didn't believe it. Two replies, parentheses, short unknown reply. Number one says, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Number two, your father told you. Number one, parentheses, unknown reply, or just possibly weeping. I know. That sounds ridiculous. I'm just telling you what I experienced.
You don't say.
Why I thought that there might have been something running in that room, or worse, some vagrants who had
Oh
pulled
my
up there
God.
and probably would have knifed me.
This person definitely wears a fedora.
This is r/nice guy.
Ah, these vagrants bothering you, milady.
At the front doors of the palace again, I figured I hadn't found anything of note and had wasted the trip up. As I looked at the door, I noticed something interesting in the courtyard that I had apparently missed.
Wait, you noticed something interesting? Please do tell.
I know, right? Something that would give me at least one thing to show for all my trouble, even if it was just a photograph. There was a
Look
life-
at this photograph. Every time I do it makes me laugh.
There was a lifelike statue of a python, maybe 80 feet long, coiled up and sunning itself on a pedestal right in the center of the area. It was almost time for the sun to start setting, so the light fell into the object in the perfect way for a photograph. I approached the python and snapped a photo. Then I stood on my toes and snapped another. I moved closer again to get the detail of its face. Slowly, casually, the python lifted its head, looked directly into my eyes, turned, and slithered off the pedestal, across the grass, and into the trees. All 80 feet of it. Its head long disappeared
Whoa,
into
wait,
the wood.
sorry.
Before its tail...
This 80-foot statue of a python started moving. Hey, homeboy, your creepypasta just went off the rails. Before it was unbelievable, now it's
rails on a crazy python.
the creepypasta was unbelievable, now it's inconceivable.
Inconceivable!
Disney had released all of their exotic animals onto the ground.
Excellent.
Right there on my floor plan map was the reptile house. So is this now Lemony Snicket?
Series of unfortunate events.
Series of unbelievable events.
Inconceivable.
Inconceivable events. I should have known. I'd read about the sharks at Treasure Isle. And I should have known they'd done this.
Excellent.
I was dumbfounded. Just utterly stupefied.
Oh my gosh.
My mouth must have been hanging open for the longest time. For the longest
My
time.
mouth was gaping open.
Before I came... My mouth was a gaping maw. Before I came back down to earth and snapped it shut. I blinked a few times. Blink, 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 blink. And backed away from where the snake had been, back toward the palace. Even though it was totally gone, I still wasn't taking any chances and backed my way into the building. It took a few deep breaths and slaps to my own face to get myself right in the head again after that. That's a terrible sentence.
It is an awful sentence.
Like, there's some bad stuff in here, but that is the worst.
There's some bad stuff in here.
I mean structurally. I don't mean like, yeah, there's crap in this. I mean like structurally, like the way he like wrote it and spaced it out. But as far as like an actual sentence, that is one of the worst run-on sentences I have ever read. I looked for a place to sit down, as my legs were feeling a bit like jelly at this point. Of course,
Like jam spread over too much bread.
Of course, there was no place to sit down.
Wait, did he capitalize was?
Yes.
What?
Unless I wanted to recline in the broken grass and dead leaf carpet or haul myself up into a desk of questionable reliability. I had seen some stairs near the palace's lobby and decided to go and have a seat there until I felt better. The staircase was far enough away from the front of the building to be relatively clean, save for a starting accumulation of dust. I pulled a wedge of metal off the wall, once again painted with the abandoned by Disney motto I'd become accustomed to.
Disney abandoned us or something.
Yeah. I placed the wedge on the stairs and sat on it to keep it at least somewhat clean. The stairway led downward, below ground level. Using my camera flash as a sort of improvised flashlight,
Ugh.
I could see that the staircase ended in a metal mesh door
I don't think this person knows how cameras work.
with a padlock, a sign on the door, a real sign, read, "Mascots only, thank you."
Capitalized?
Yeah. This perked up my spirits a little.
Because after all...
Oh, we got a furry in the wings.
Oh my god, we were thinking the same thing!
No. No.